Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Walking Shadow. I'm the executive producer here at Final Show Films, John. I turn it over to our GM for the evening, Jack. And
Wow,
someone has me on in the background.
that would have been my fault. So,
Jeez, Jack.
welcome, one and all, back to the mist-shrouded and blood-soaked streets of Seattle. Slightly different than the Seattle of our world, but similar in many respects. I am Jack. I'm the GM, or storyteller, for this Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. And introducing the players that we have with us this evening, there is Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm yawning, apparently. Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm playing Naomi, the Malkavian crazy balls with the weird dreams.
Yes, indeed. Michelle is here as well.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I play Isla, the Toreador.
John.
I'm John, and I play Gabriel, the Tremere Warlock.
And reintroducing, for the first time in a long time, William is with us this evening.
Hey, I'm William, and I'm playing Alexander, the Toreador.
Raphael is absent currently, but may be joining us once again partway through the stream as he is engaged in musical endeavors of a performing nature, for which we are quite proud of him and wish him all the best. But let us return once again to the world of Walking Shadow.
I really need my dog to stop interrupting my green screen.
Okay, we'll get right on that. I guess.
Animals interrupting green screens are the best thing. You need to aim the camera so it only sees that.
Part of Gabriel tonight will be played by a canine. Congratulations. But as the sun dips below the western horizon and darkness once again descends upon the cityscape, the stars begin to creep out one at a time. And with the cessation of illumination comes wakefulness once again. First, to a bedroom on the eastern side of the city, where Gabriel's eyes blink open, and he once again regains consciousness in an earlier period than most vampires would, but that is his habit.
So is Isla, entangled around me, or just next to me?
I don't think she's quite forward enough to have, draped herself all over you, but she is curled up, probably with her back to you, but right up against you.
Okay. So yeah, I'll extricate myself from next to Isla, and head downstairs.
All right.
Seeing what's up in the shop.
Okay. Seems to have been a commerce day, in that the shop itself was closed as Serenity was handling most of the business regarding the sale.
Yeah.
She's managed to take inventory of most of the still held merchandise and commissions that you have on hand. Mm-hmm. She's been doing a lot of organization and prioritization of what needs to be completed before the sale can be finalized, and then what you're going to do with all this stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
But she looks up as you come downstairs, gives you a smile.
So, how goes?
Well, a couple more days and we'll have finalization on this, so
Good.
We're going to need to find somewhere to park in the meantime.
Yeah, well, we have an apartment in the domain, but the idea
Reminds me, is Gabriel in part of the investment on that one?
Part of the investment.
Out of character. Was Gabriel part of the investment to buy that?
No, that was all Naomi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Lysander contributed something, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's paying you half the rent, but...
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's under Naomi's name.
But, okay. all the paperwork is in
I don't
Naomi's
remember,
name.
because Serenity did it.
Yes. Yes.
I also
all the paperwork is in Naomi's name.
There was also a second part to that sentence, so...
Sorry.
Yes, there's a apartment in the domain, but I'd rather us go ahead and turn around some of the capital that we have squirreled away into a temporary apartment until we can get the full finances and begin purchasing rental properties. I've already explained to her the idea that I have of
Yes.
making
Yes,
our
you
money
have.
work for us rather than us working for our money.
Uh-huh.
And then I think I've told you about the place down the street that's on sale. That
You
lovely,
mentioned, yes.
yes,
Yep.
enclosed
have
walls.
a
Yeah.
yes. I've got an appointment to view that tomorrow.
Yes. Have you gone on your date yet?
We did.
How was it?
It was fun.
Good.
She kind of looks you up and down and says, "He's nice enough." With a very pointed period at the end of that sentence.
That's good.
And
to
then
hear.
goes back to finishing her bookkeeping.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and go out and get a jump start on those commissions that need to get done before the next couple of days.
All right, give me an intelligence and crafts roll, difficulty 6.
Do. Let me find my character sheet. Where's my character sheet? There it is. Intelligence crafts. And this does qualify as magic apparatus, so.
Yes, indeed.
2 successes.
2 successes. All right, good. Yeah. So you make some good progress on that. And there's maybe 3 or 4 total commissions they have to do within the next week or so, but they're fairly simple. Nothing too ornate or overcomplicated.
I'm not workshopping. I'm crafting from I'm
Right.
already have the designs, so.
Yes. It's right now. It's
Just-
materials gathering and assembly.
Yep.
All right.
One of them is the exploding mirror trick,
Yes,
because that had a test run and it was successful.
it was indeed. And you work there for a little while, feeling like this is an interesting sort of final move for you. You know that if you can, acquire the sort of estate that you're hoping to, you could conceivably have another workshop built on the premises, carry on doing this, but you're sort of coming to this stage where you're realizing, given your future plans, you might not have to do this ever again if you didn't want to.
Yeah. Probably would still do a few commissions, but
Yeah. But it would be self-motivated, not
Yeah.
currency motivated necessarily. Naomi. Right about now is when everybody else is waking up. And you, having just had a rather disconcerting dream, as your eyes blink open, darkness still swathing the room that you're currently laying in. Everybody will need to make sure they have spent their blood point. But what's Naomi's first reaction upon regaining consciousness?
Upon waking up, eidetic memory roll to remember all of it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like an actual thing or if that's a me thing.
It's kind of a you thing. But yeah, no, you can definitely make the roll.
Okay.
It would just be
Sorry, I don't know why my computer's so slow today.
that's okay. But it's intelligence and empathy.
All right,
Difficulty 4.
cool. Actually, yes, I do. I had Roll20 open in 2 places, and Roll20 does not like that.
No, it does not.
Intelligence and empathy?
Yep.
Oh, okay. 7 successes.
Okay, yep. You definitely have all the necessary details firmly ensconced in your mind.
Great.
Yep. You could probably
Because
direct
I
a
imagine
film
that was
recreation
traumatic
of
enough
this.
to have to roll.
Yeah.
Because I like my sire.
Yes, you do. And no, you didn't have to do the perception alertness thing because it was a dream. So technically, it's all in your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
That's why it was more of an
that makes
alternate dice pool.
Okay. I'm probably... My first reaction is probably to try and call Matilda.
Okay. As you go to your contacts list, click the phone number and put through. I assume you are actually calling, not texting.
I am calling.
Okay.
She probably knows why I do that.
Sounds good. And yep, the phone rings twice, and then the answer picks up, and you hear a long, low whistle.
It sounds like someone whistling, or.
And you've had Matilda answer the phone this way before.
Is that usually don't talk to her right now, she's scary thing, or?
There's not really a why behind it. It's not like
Okay.
she specifically answers the phone this way in certain contexts and other ways. It's one of the ways she answers, and you've never really asked her about it.
That makes sense. It's a perfectly normal way to answer a phone. As the mute person that is calling someone. And I'll send through text. It's been a while, but it also hasn't been.
There'll be a text come back. That's how time works.
What did that hand look human? Did it look dead?
Give me an intelligence and occult roll, difficulty 8.
Hmm. Two successes, 4 if this counts as ASL.
No, it does not.
It's about hand signs. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, this is more about the type of hand that it was. It was definitely humanesque. As to whether or not it was vampiric in nature, you hazard a guess that it felt that way. The nails were a little ragged and a little longer than you'd expect for just a regular human being. They weren't necessarily the sort of elongated claws that you saw when Lysander was fighting the gangrel, but there was sort of a palish tinge to it that may have just been because it was a disembodied, spectral, several city block size hand floating in the air, or it might have been to indicate that this is not the hand of a living being in the most general sense of the word.
There seems to be a lot of strings being pulled in the city right now.
What a tangled web we weave.
Which river was that?
It was the Fremont Cut. which is the bit of water running east-west directly south of your domain.
Right. Been near the Fremont Cut lately.
No, I usually stay south of the water.
Hmm. I
Do
prefer
you need to
trying.
meet?
If it isn't too much trouble.
Well, there's a very pleasant cemetery. I'll see you there. Give me an intelligence and streetwise difficulty 6.
And if I fail this, I am Googling Pleasant Hill Cemetery. Because that feels like the nearly too obvious thing Naomi wouldn't get. Says the person from California, where Pleasant Hill is an actual place. What difficulty?
6.
I think the place
2
around here too.
successes. Never mind.
There is a Mount Pleasant Cemetery
Ah.
in North Queen Anne. It's not a small cemetery, but also it's a cemetery, and the number of people that are probably hanging around any given cemetery after dark are usually easily countable on one hand. So you'll find her eventually, most likely.
Yep.
Shifting position to Alexander.
Yes.
What would your normal day-to-day be like?
My night to night.
Yes, more or less.
Likely keeping a watch, not only on the very important house, but also on the street around it, keeping an eye out, making sure that vampires are doing what vampires are supposed to be doing and not threatening anything, and humans aren't getting too dangerously close to figuring anything out, etc., etc.
All right, so you're on a little bit of a neighborhood patrol, more or less.
Basically,
Okay.
just kind of hands in pockets, in jacket, because I typically keep the bike around the house. Just hands in pockets as I walk around, keeping an eye on things.
All right. You give me a perception and investigation difficulty 5. You're familiar with this neighborhood, so it's not going to be too complicated for you.
Investigation. Difficulty 5. 1 success.
All right. So yeah,
Unless
you
counts
make
for
you make your rounds. And the city seems fairly quiet this evening. There's the occasional, wandering band of youngsters who may or may not be getting up to anything, but don't seem to be pushing the envelope in any state that would really concern your particulars.
Any vampiric problems?
Right. As far as other vampires go, nobody's in the neighborhood this evening, and that's not unusual.
I have Auspex. I think I should have been adding something to that.
Auspex, you can reduce difficulty on perception-based pools by
That wouldn't help me any.
Okay. But yeah, because territory in Seattle is fairly strictly enforced.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't have a domain claim over a given area, it's generally severely frowned upon to hunt in a place that you don't already have rights to. So with that in mind, you've got fairly low number of incidents when vampires have pushed their way into the surroundings of your family's dwelling that were not foreseen or requested. So things seem to be fairly calm this evening. Give me a wits and empathy roll, difficulty 6 as well.
All right. Wits and empathy. I have those. Say difficulty 6 or 4?
Yes.
I hate rolling botches.
That's not a botch.
I know it's not, but one success. I hate rolling
Yeah.
ones.
Okay, one success. Right. You have been noticing though. There's this aura of tension that seems to have been incrementally creeping over the city recently. You were aware of the prince's decrees, the closing of the borders, and the fact that fealty had to be renewed, and there were severe sanctions and penalties in place. And there's been rumors of Lex Talionis being enforced on a couple of random unaffiliateds that were found on the outskirts of Seattle. Supposedly, somebody got their generation empowered by consuming a slightly older vampire than themselves, all falling well within the Camarilla's sanctions at this point. It's very uneasy. There's no open conflict beyond the rumors that you've heard of the Tremere Chantry being attacked, but those are still just rumors. There's very little confirmed information or reports.
If the Tremere were attacked, they sure as hell wouldn't be admitting it.
Right. And that sort of thing is usually held very close to the vest, because even the aspects of the Camarilla might be empowered, subsections or certain clans by an apparent weakening of the Tremere, it's also going to cast a very poor pall over the entirety of the Camarilla if one of their centers of power is able to be hit by Sabat.
Mm-hmm.
But this tension has been sort of gnawing at the back of your brain a little bit, which is why you're not entirely surprised when your phone rings and caller ID says you're getting a message from Jimmy Ulster.
Mm-hmm. Open the phone and say, "Hello, Jimmy. How can I assist you?"
Alexander, are you busy tonight?
No, it seems to be too quiet.
I know the feeling. Look, some of those people that I had you working with before.
Yes.
There's been some.
Go on.
There's been some rumors going around, and apparently they had a meeting last night with Crow, one of the spooks that lives underground for us. I need you to go over, on my recognizance, of course. Go see what's going on, and I want you to offer your services to them. Let them know that you're working for me, just like they are. And honestly, these investigations and these murders are starting to worry me even more than they had before. Besides, Cunningham's been chewing my ass about the entire thing and telling him I've got more bodies on it.
And you need
That'll
someone
go a
who can
little way to
smooth
cover
things
me.
over.
A little bit.
Very well.
All right. Yeah, they've got a domain just northwest of the statue of Lenin.
Lucky them.
Well,
But
I
anyway.
certainly think so.
I mean,
Go give it a check out and
we are kind
just
of
report
awesome.
back to me if they've got anything. They've got anything in that they can't surface by themselves.
You mean anything requiring some wit?
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry, I should keep my
Very well.
Naomi reactions for when Naomi is there.
Motherfucker. I got your wit right here.
All right.
5 dots.
Appreciate it, Ravenhall. Let me know if you guys need backup.
I'll let you know. Very well. Have a good evening.
Likewise.
Close the phone, make my way there.
Okay. So as Alexander is on the bike headed towards the Fremont area, Isla, you have awoken as well. You're alone in the bed. You can hear some noises coming from downstairs.
Okay, as usual, she just gets up and goes to find Gabriel.
All right. So Gabriel, Isla walks into the workshop.
I'm checking. I want to just sort of pause what I'm doing. Check my phone real quick. Just to see if I got an email or anything.
You don't have any messages currently. No.
All right. Close phone. Look over at it. Have a good day's rest.
Yes, thank you. Do you need anything?
Just finishing up some commissions while waiting for the rest to awaken, so that we can resume our planning.
Anything I can help with?
He thinks for a second. This is kind of a one-person job, so I don't really
It's
have
fine.
anything at the moment.
If it's more trouble to think of something for me to do than it would be help for me to help, then I'll just wait.
I'll just stand here and look extraordinarily pretty.
Yep, that's pretty much what she does. She just stands there nearby looking beautiful.
Stand by, looking beautiful.
She goes into decor mode.
She's got a setting for that.
Yeah.
Click.
All right.
Yeah. After a while of working, I don't remember if we had a plan for the morning.
You do know that Lysander was going to acquire weaponry, and those have not been dispersed yet.
Oh yeah. No, that's right.
We're not giving Isla a weapon, are we?
Maybe. So I'll shoot a text over to Lysander and say, "Up yet?"
He'll respond back, "Yeah, what?"
Weapons.
Ready when you are.
Okay.
So because this is probably important, unless Matilda gave me a specific time, as soon as I'm done with that conversation, which is pretty immediately after I woke up, I'm headed out to that place.
Sounds good. So you get up, gather whatever kit you usually take with you when you go out from your apartment.
Probably putting stuff in a toolbox as opposed to like sort of more canvas bag thing this time.
Okay. All right.
Taking my car.
Sounds good. Get out of the bedroom. Start gathering things around. Casper comes, winds around your legs a couple times. Seems
It
very
will never
chill.
not be weird.
Yep.
It's a vampire cat.
No, I did Auspex. It's fine. Probably.
It's a tricky vampire cat. It knows you were doing auspex. Warded against.
But other than that, Lysander doesn't seem to be active yet. And you get in your car and start driving south.
All right.
So I'll look over at Isla. Oh. Looks like it's time to go. Shall we?
Where are we going again?
Up to the domain. We got prepared for the eventuality of Sabbat unpleasantness. And after that, I think I need to take Naomi and Lysander to a gun range so they can actually practice shooting things. Because I'm not sure if either of them have ever actually fired a gun.
I bet Lysander has.
He seems to enjoy those knives he has. Also, if he had a gun, I don't think he would have gotten that close to a gangrel.
I don't think he has one, but I'd be willing to bet that he's used one before.
Well,
Just a guess. We'll see.
either way, let us go. And I will head out towards the car, open the passenger door for Isla,
She gets in.
close it.
All
go to the
right.
seat. Brrr.
Okay. So you guys begin to drive north towards the domain. Naomi, Mount Pleasant Cemetery is only about 10 minutes away.
Okay.
So you make your way there without any trouble at all. A little bit of backup traffic at a couple of intersections, but for the most part, you're there within about the time that you'd expect. I assume you probably park on the street and enter on foot.
I probably do that thing I've been doing a lot where I park a few blocks away.
Okay.
It's not. It's verging on the point where it's more compulsion for her than it is actual strategy.
Okay.
But she does it.
All right. So we'll say you're parked somewhere along Fulton Street.
All right.
And are you looking for a gate, or are you gonna jump the barrier?
Is the barrier like a barrier, or is it like a knee-high fence?
It is. If you're coming at it from the street, there's a fairly steep slope, and then a wall that's probably maybe 3.5, 4 feet tall over top of it. It'd be a scramble, but Naomi could get up over it without any trouble.
I'm probably gonna first look and see if there's an open gate.
Okay. Yeah. No. If you hook around the northern side of the location, you'll find a gate. It is locked. But it's not impossible to get access to.
Well, I'll probably, I don't know if it would be a tactics roll or something. I'm gonna pick easiest point of entrance with least likelihood that someone will be like, "You darn kid, stop sneaking into cemetery at night."
Okay. As far as that goes, there's a vacant lot across the street, but no like actual occupied buildings or anything nearby. And the gate itself is more of a barrier so that people don't just drive in and out overnight.
Because I look somewhere between 17 and 35.
Right. And your car could easily ram through this little chain link doohickey, but as far as access goes, it's probably going to be easier to just put both hands on top and vault it.
Yeah, I'm going to vault the wall. Would that be a strength thing?
That would be a dexterity and athletics thing.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just going to try it.
Okay. Difficulty 6.
Three successes.
Yeah. So with no trouble whatsoever, you grab on, kick a leg up and over, and manage to clear the chain link. You don't catch your sweater in it or anything. It's a nice clean dismount, and there is a large...
So Naomi isn't wearing a sweater tonight. I was going to say this for when other people saw her, but it's relevant now. She's actually wearing sort of a sturdy dark green cargo vest, and pretty workman-like pants, the sort of thing you'd wear if you were going to a construction job.
Mm-hmm.
None of it is necessarily clean, but it's not like, it doesn't smell like she just dug it out of that dumpster.
Okay. But it's not like caked in paint or anything like that per se. It's just
it's not caked in paint. Let's be honest, there's probably some paint splatters on it.
Sure.
As with a lot of her clothing, probably a few grease stains, but primarily it's clearly well worn. It's her version of professional hitman as opposed to professional crazy lady who sees things.
Okay. This is her combat uniform as far as she's concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
And it kind of looks like what she would interpret as a combat uniform as a result. But it's not an openly aggressive outfit.
Right. Doesn't have a shoulder-mounted cannon or anything.
No, though I
mean,
look
if
into
it
that.
did, that would be awesome. Like, can we
I
look into
want
shoulder-mounted cannons? I feel
Naomi
like
goes predator mode.
I feel like that's the appropriate method of retaliation to a werewolf. Is it just a shoulder-mounted cannon?
It fires silver grenades.
Just...
Grenade shrapnel doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be all that hard.
Do werewolves take aggravated damage from plasma?
Okay. Sorry, that's off topic.
But you are confronted with a large, dark, apparently vacant cemetery.
Or perception cemetery.
Okay. Perception and, well, are you just looking for who is here or what is here?
I'm looking if there are things here, what variety are they?
All right.
And by
give
things
me
I mean living and pseudo living.
All right. Perception and awareness. Difficulty 7. Reduced as needed.
7. What's 7 minus 4?
3.
Great. 5 successes.
All right. There are ghosts here. They're fairly calm for the most part. Most of them seem to be exhibiting very little awareness or concern for anything else around them. But there's a palpable, like, yeah, this is where dead things go.
No werewolf, no vampire that I notice in my scan.
Definitely no werewolf. You walk about 3 or 4 minutes into the cemetery before you start picking up vampire. As you go south on the footpath, gravel crunching underneath your feet, eventually you get to the point where you've taken a little bit of a loop around, and you can see the area is heavily trafficked during daylight hours. There's a lot of visible footprints and disturbed tracks left in the softer parts of the earth. But right now, there is simply a single, very recognizable figure underneath one of the evergreen trees that grows here, and watching you approach. Yep.
Recognizable as in my sire?
Yes.
God, I was thinking there was fucking Lasommer waiting for me for some reason. Naomi will
just waits.
will walk up and wave. I keep on forgetting. Does Matilda know ASL?
Yes, she does.
Then she'll just sign. She won't.
Mm-hmm. And she'll sign back. Hello, little spider.
I don't feel like I'm very in charge of the web, if that's what you're implying.
No, but you can walk through it with a little more freedom than most.
Suppose.
Have you been spinning your own?
I have, in its own small corner.
And how many of your brothers and sisters are connected to it?
It stretches out to peacocks that flaunt their feathers and call in others.
Give me a wits and empathy difficulty 5.
Okay.
Because you know Matilda fairly well.
Yeah. 5 successes, one of which is a 10, though I gotta say strategy doesn't apply.
Nope, not so much. But yeah, you're catching her. She's doing that thing that she frequently does, where she talks about a topic that she's genuinely interested in, but her words are meant to reflect a second conversation that's sort of happening underneath the first one. And she is genuinely asking, hey, what have you been up to? How are your friends? That sort of thing. But you get the idea that she is referencing the network a little bit in the way she's speaking about webs and weaving.
I'm being stupid. Network as in...
The Malkavian Madness Network? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Nosferatu Network.
No,
I was very
not
confused.
Not ShrekNet. Crazy net.
Oh, I love that.
That sort of akashic field of insanity that
Yeah.
all members of your clan can have at least a tenuous connection to at times.
Which, whether or not it's true, now Naomi very much sees herself as being a part of in this abstract way.
Mm-hmm.
It's as though they don't know where they are. And everything's about to disappear very soon.
Ragnarok.
That seems dramatic.
We're dramatic people.
I tend towards community theater, but the bard's tales often include the dead. Yay, Shakespeare references that have no connection to this conversation.
The dead are always with us.
Which is why it worries me, the implication they might go missing.
And who is responsible for the lost soul?
I feel like that's something I should be able to roll a check in because I just...
Sure. Give me a intelligence and... Well, like, are you trying to figure out what she means or what she's referencing or what?
The answer?
Okay.
Sort of a combination, because who's responsible for the lost soul could be a vampire discussion of who is responsible for the soul being lost when the vampire becomes a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be a response to what I just said.
Right.
And it probably is both.
Give me intelligence and empathy difficulty 6.
It was more GM said something and I didn't have a response.
That's fair. 4 successes. It's definitely both.
Okay.
There's a philosophical question sort of on the surface, but underneath it, it's, yeah, what have you figured out about these mysteriously vanished vampires?
The hand with wires counts up the number of bodies they want. Some of those who seem lost are returned, but not in distorted way, in their truest form as... I think you said mothers and fathers last time we were doing nonsense. As mothers and fathers to children of moon, dark.
I see. These souls, then, you have seen them?
I have seen them, and what might be a possibility might be a warning, where they disappear and the mortal's flesh rots off.
When?
In the time of dreams, while I acquainted myself with an owl. It's total.
another predator of the night. A wise one.
Indeed. And one who helped alleviate some answers.
She glances around. The ghosts lurk here. But they know little of what passes during the day. It is not their time any more than it is ours.
But yet both of us still remain in a way.
She kind of shifts and squares her shoulders, and her posture changes very dramatically to where before she was fairly graceful and almost casual. She's taken on a far more professional, borderline, you'd almost say military stance at this point. So, my child, what worries you most?
The actions of one who is not outside or in, driving us all to dust and ash.
Then saw you not his face?
Wait, fuck, which one was I talking about? One half of the coin is clearly close. The other half conceals themselves. If the GM needs me to clarify what I'm actually saying, that is.
Yeah, go ahead.
The rest of us could use it too.
Sorry, I'm trying to be in character, which basically means saying nonsense and hoping people understand me. Naomi was saying the thing that concerns her most is that Lysander, who isn't quite Camarilla or Sabat, isn't quite a member, isn't quite separate from our group, has sort of potentially put us in a position to all be burned to ash. And the other side of what she was saying is that there's some weird puppet master fucking with us.
Yeah. Yeah, the downside of two Malkavians talking to each other is the rest of us have no clue what the fuck y'all talking about.
I don't think we do either.
We need subtitles.
Yeah,
Malkavian
Malkavian subtitles. Just somebody frantically going, puppet master, met with an owl in a dream, fuck Lysander. Like, just...
You know, I could probably do that for the YouTube upload. With GM approval, permission, correction, of course.
Fine by me.
Add subtitles just for that space of time.
Literally just for the conversation between Malkavians.
Yep. Oh.
You know,
hey, it'll make
if I
people watch
had
the
a
YouTube
lot more
upload.
time, I'd offer to subtitle everything.
It'll make people watch the YouTube episode, so I say go for
It's
it.
just, yeah, it's
Okay.
just like that scene in a movie where the two Germans start talking to each other in German, and so, you know, they gotta put the subtitles. It's the same deal.
Right.
Or they don't.
They're both
because
speaking
they want to make
Malkavian.
a point about cultural intersections.
Yeah.
Watch the YouTube episode to find out if I actually do that.
She folds her hands in front of her, bows her head for a moment, as if thinking. Then raises her eyes and looks at you again. There is treasure in dreams. And when next you encounter such personages, you'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid you hold your peace.
That's Shakespeare.
Yes, it is. That's Hamlet.
Yep.
Fuck. Now I have to go Google which part of Hamlet that is.
It's when they're on the battlements talking about his father's ghost showing up to Horatio.
Oh, right.
I had that line.
I've never actually been in a full version of that play.
God,
I've
the
had that
unabridged
scene.
Hamlet
I've
is
never
hell.
seen that line. Okay, I've never performed that line in the sort of repeated way where it gets stuck in your head. Indeed. That seems a wise plan.
And then she raises her hand towards her mouth, and you see the fang gleam in the moonlight for just a moment as she draws a finger across it. Just a small bead of blood is evident around the pad of the finger. She reaches out and draws it across your forehead and then down the bridge of your nose, marking you with a cross. And she turns and walks away.
Okay. Can I do a
Octavians, man.
check on that? Or is
Mhm.
that something she always does?
It's definitely not something she always does.
No,
Give me a.
I was a childer. I hung out with her for a long
yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely not something she always does. Give me a. Are you trying to figure out if there is like a specific symbolism to what she's done, or what you think she was trying to communicate by doing it?
What she was trying to communicate.
Wits and empathy, then. Difficulty 6.
And or was that just a Gabriel type thing where it's blood magic? 3 successes.
Okay. You know it wasn't blood and magic. You're not feeling anything paranormal emanating off of it other than a little bit of blood. And it definitely wasn't like a full blood point, because that would definitely coat your entire face and body. Most of your body, probably. You know, it's like, yeah, here's a pint of blood splash. It feels vaguely benedictory. As if she's either attempting to bless and or ward you against something.
Hocus pocus.
But
Hocus
very
pocus
much
and
more in
gobbledygook.
a ceremonial, liturgical sort of way, not necessarily in a "this is actual protective magic" sort of way.
That's what the Trevere are for.
Gamos comes up, picks a finger, draws a cross on your forehead, walks away.
Did I miss the gloves memo?
No, it's all his
I have
characters wear
gloves. I
gloves.
can get them.
I am not wearing gloves.
William's wearing a glove, which made me want to wear my gloves. That's basically the entirety of it.
I live
have
in Los
keys
Angeles.
because
I don't
Naomi's really
own
distracted.
gloves.
I have a glove on this hand for characterization. This hand is I need actually to type things sometimes.
And this is to keep the hair out of my face.
It's darling.
Thank you.
So shifting back now to Gabriel and Isla.
All right, hang on.
You are in the car, headed towards the domain. Where in the domain are you headed first?
The apartment.
Okay. You begin to drive up. Give me a perception and alertness roll. Difficulty 6, reduced as needed. And domain dice apply to this one.
Perception alertness.
And that's 3 domain dice.
3
right?
domain
Yeah.
dice.
Yep.
2 successes.
1.
2 successes. 1 success. All right. So both of you hear the bike approaching, growl of the engine, and you glance over to see a individual of difficult to determine their identity, because I assume Alexander wears a helmet.
Yeah, he doesn't just go around parading the fact that he doesn't need to wear a helmet, especially when he follows the rules.
Yeah.
Do we see the long hair flowing out from the bottom, though? Because
Probably.
we've met. I at least have met Alexander before.
You've met Alexander before, yeah. And you see him. He's sort of doing that cruise thing where he's obviously driving without specifically knowing where he's going, kind of giving the whole place a look around to try and figure things out and get the lay of the land.
Well, he definitely sees the Dodge Charger. So.
Yep. Which you, Alexander, you would recognize the vehicle. Pulling into, it's probably about a quarter of a block away, pulling into a garage underneath a apartment building.
What's the street status right now? Is it mostly empty?
Mostly empty, yeah.
Then I will pick up speed a little bit and catch up.
Okay. So Gabriel, as you kind of see this and do the quick take over your shoulder, you see the headlight coming down the road and accelerating slightly to sort of merge paths with you.
Is this a private garage or is it open?
This is a private garage.
All right. I'll just hold a hand out, out the window, just like 1 second, and go and park the car.
Okay.
Open the door, look over at Isla. Well, it appears we have a guest.
All right.
And,
An authentic engine rumbling noise.
Yeah, that's my AC. I don't apologize because it's hot.
I don't expect you to.
Yeah, open the door, get out, go sort of approach and let him in.
All right. For any new viewers, William, can you describe Alexander's appearance?
Alexander, as he takes his helmet off, is very, very long, well-kept hair that sort of flows around his shoulders in sort of a mane. I'm probably going to say that the hair has turned a little bit pale. It's not. It was at one point like jet black, raven black. It's a little bit peppered with salt now, but it's still a very regal-looking mane of hair. And he keeps a very short, very well-trimmed goatee, very piercing eagle eyes that are ice blue. And he wears what would be a very well kept, very nice fitted suit that is, the double-breasted collar, very like Spanish nobility, modern. If it weren't for the constant road wear that implies that this is probably one of the few outfits he actually wears around.
Isla, give me a wits and awareness roll, difficulty 5.
Do I do the same?
Yeah.
Go
ahead and give me the same,
Alexander.
Alexander.
Necessary as I go up, and while they're rolling. Alexander, welcome. What brings you around here? Oh, Isla, Alexander Ravenhall. Alexander, Isla Ali.
I immediately recognize her, apparently.
Well, also, like my whole my specialty or whatever for appearance is unforgettable, so you probably would recognize me if you had seen me before.
So is Serenity's. I apparently have a type.
And you have eidetic memory, so
Yeah.
why the unforgettable women? You'd remember them anyway.
I know. Particularly.
But yeah, there's a brief moment for you, Alexander, where both of you immediately scream Toreador into the other's face, almost, just from your overall demeanor and.
He does the thing where he pulls the helmet off and like flicks his hair back.
Now, Isla, the last time you saw her, she was wearing a hijab, and now
Right.
she is bareheaded and her hair is all down. So there might have been a moment of, is this the same person? And she's dressed very much to she looks like she is Gabriel's accessory, basically. Her clothes in a subtle way, but as you're a Toreador, you would probably pick up on this, but she has dressed in such a way as to sort of subtly complement Gabriel's suit.
and you're able to pick up on all of this. Isla, you're looking at him, and you recognize the face initially, and then with Gabriel's introduction, that bell in the back of your head rings just enough where you recall maybe a couple hours that you've spent with this individual several years ago, and vague inclinations of what probably transpired. The memories are not super clear for you because extended periods of torpor can mess with your recollection. But you remember interacting with him at least once or twice at Elysium.
As Gabriel has just said his name, Isla is going to attempt to appear to remember him more clearly than she does. So she's just going to say, "Alexander, good to see you again," with a smile. And I don't know if I need to roll to see if she pulls that off, or
give me a manipulation and expression roll. Difficulty. Let me look at Alexander's sheet.
Or would
Hang on a
that
second.
be-
Difficulty is
Or would that
Alexander
be-
has brokenly high everything.
would that be subterfuge since she's kind of
Yeah,
lying,
you could go
or-
with that. Yeah, manipulation.
I don't know which.
subterfuge.
Wait,
That
which
would make
one's
sense.
higher? Hold on, let me see.
Alexander hasn't been leveling up like the rest of us have, so he doesn't
Let's
have
see.
brokenly high everything.
Expression is 3 and subterfuge is 3, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'll do
Difficulty is 6.
Do I have any pool mud or anything?
No, not for this one.
3 successes.
So you carry it off just fine. As far as
So
Alexander's
it,
concerned.
it seems that
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
she remembers.
pleasantly.
She remembers me. I remember her. It's been 4 years
However,
plus ish.
I did hear, however, what happened with her. So
Yes, you have heard of the rumors of a Toreador roused from torpor and knocking around with this young coterie who had been given some territory north of the water.
So there's immediately this very flourished deep chest bow, like waist bow, with the arm up to the shoulder. It is good to see you alive and well.
Thank you. I trust you're well also.
I have seen better days, but I cannot complain.
Well, it's nice not to be the only Toreador in my immediate vicinity for once. It's been quite a while.
Well, I promise you, we will be seeing more of each other if the fates are aligned as they seem to be. Good Gabriel, it has been alerted to me that you may have need of my services once more, and nonetheless I have been requested to provide them.
And
Oh.
right as Gabriel goes to respond, there is a shout from above your heads. Or you assholes could come inside and not talk about business on the fucking sidewalk. And you look up to see Lysander leaning out of the balcony of Naomi's apartment. Looking-
It was Lysander.
We just
Hello,
got out
darling.
of the car.
Come on up. Coffee's getting cold.
Isla greets Lysander as though he had greeted him just as politely and charmingly as Alexander did. She responds the same way, just delighted.
Anyways, then I'll lead the way up.
All right. So you guys proceed back up the stairs. Gabriel will probably be leading the way. Lysander will meet you at the door. He seems to be in a moderately decent mood.
Well, you're chipper.
Had a good night last night.
Where's Naomi?
Don't detail. Where is Naomi?
Out.
Should we?
I text.
Should
I
some-
pull out my phone and text Naomi.
When would this be?
Isla begins her question, sees Gabriel texting, and doesn't finish it.
Where
Should we?
are you?
...
This would be probably just as you're getting back to your car, Naomi.
Okay. I am socially conscious enough not to walk around with blood spirit on my face too openly, just to clarify.
So yeah, just where are ooh?
Walking
WHR.
in the
No,
Is
where is
there a
spelled
mo-
completely where is spelled completely properly, and then it's just R ooh.
walking in the moonlight. I'm assuming you'd like to meet in the domain.
Guns and ships.
Yes.
Just text back.
Boy
and so the
soldiers fall
balance
over
shifts.
very easily in an earthquake.
She's on her way. I close my phone.
Did Naomi tell them about the owl dream? I can't remember.
Naomi did it at a very random moment. Sit everyone down on boxes and emphatically, in as much detail, more detail than was actually necessary, explain every single piece of the owl dream.
Yeah.
Okay, so Isla texts her 3 owl emojis.
Naomi will text back a smile,
So
even though that's not accurate. You stupid, not Malkavian.
So you have presents for us.
I found some things,
Good.
and he will lay things out on the table.
So,
Alexander, nice to see you again.
so for Alexander, there are crates in the room and guns being pulled out of them.
There is a crate and guns being pulled out of it.
Yes.
I think I'm happy with the present you already gave me, Lysander. I don't think I'll need any of these others.
Reach down and grab one of the shotguns.
He kind of gives you a half smirk and a wink and a nod.
This is quite the armory. You seem to be gearing up for battle.
I
Yeah.
know some things and people.
And places. We have a bit of a sabot problem that likely will need to be dealt with.
Yes, there have been rumors of them prowling about.
Well, if Jimmy sent you to assist, then you're in on it. So the Sabbat feel like that we have a particular book of theirs that they want. We don't. When we tell them we don't have it, they're going to try to kill us.
So it is with this about.
Pretty much.
I don't know how useful I will be in this situation if it's not something that can be handled with words and or a very attractive hairpin, she says, smiling at Lysander again.
He studiously does not make eye contact, but you can see a faint hint of a smile.
Now, I think you will find every situation can be at least helped with words.
I
If you
hope
know
you're
the
right.
ones.
I hope you're right. Words are my specialty.
As they're mine.
So you're looking over at Alexander. So, let's bring you up to speed. Bear in mind that just about all of this is confidential to our coterie, and if you go around spreading rumors of it, not only will you incite a panic within the Camarilla itself, but I will have to light you on fire and reduce you to a pile of ash.
He kind of like lightly smirks, as if the very thought was amusing.
I just imagine Lysander going, he's not joking.
No, Lysander would be rolling it at his eyes, going, "Here he goes again."
Yeah.
With the flame threats.
I mean,
Always the
Lysander
flame
doesn't
threats.
believe our threats. The problem is that we are actually threatening him.
yeah.
No, he believes you're actually threatening him. He's just like, all right, it starts to lose its impact
It
when
must
you
be
do
a
it every
day
5
ending in
minutes.
Y.
I don't-
Gabriel's
Right.
threats
I don't
set someone
threaten.
on fire.
I've only threatened to set him on fire once.
And Naomi has never threatened anyone else the way she threatened Lysander.
Anyways, so The murders that we were investigating, that you assisted with prior, appear to have been increasing in number and frequency. The information that we've gathered indicates that a pair or more of supernatural beings, although we have narrowed down to vampire, at least one of them is a gangrel, are breaking into people's homes, siphoning all the blood out of their bodies with a machine rather than their own fangs, storing it for later use, and posing the bodies as if it were basically a vampiric killing.
Trying to out the Masquerade in the city.
Yes, intentionally leaving bite marks, although they're not quite accurate. In increasing numbers, we've had a family of two. We've had a pair of two roommates, a family of three, although one of them got away, and then a family of four most recently.
If I may make one small correction, we don't know for certain yet that they're storing it for later use. We don't know what is being done with the blood, but
we don't know for certain that it's being stored for later use, but we do know.
But it is being
stored.
taken from the scene. We know that it is stored in large tanks and then removed from the scene.
Yeah, the device that is being used is intended to store. The assumption is for later use. They might just be drinking it as soon as they leave, but
I doubt that.
I believe Gabriel said they might be throwing it in the river.
Yeah, they may be throwing it in the river. Who knows?
They may just be disposing of it so that it's not found at the scene, because it's supposed to look like vampires have been feeding.
I feel as if the goal was simply to create the scene of vampires feeding, and they did not have an ulterior motive for the blood. They would simply ravage the bite mark so you could not get a perfect teeth trace.
I arrived at the same conclusion, actually.
However,
great minds think alike.
However, we determined that if that was the case, they wouldn't need quite as sturdy a containment vessel.
They likely have something planned with the blood.
Yes.
The thing that immediately springs to mind is very dangerous blood magic. I look directly at you.
We don't need that much. Anyways, we've also made the assumption, and we have nothing to contradict this yet, but no solid proof, that they also used this killing and the disturbance it created, at least for the most recent one, to draw werewolves into our territory. It seems as if this is a
territory.
Well, they've left thus far and have not returned. We've been operating under the assumption that this is all a series of calculated incidents designed intentionally to undermine the prince's authority within the Camarilla, and potentially to undermine the Camarilla as a whole. It seems that they may also be manipulating the Sabbat. We're not certain 100% how, which leads us to tonight's activities. In addition to dealing with the current Sabbat threat, we are looking for somebody who has been passing them information from... We're not certain where. It may be from within the Camarilla. It may be a third party entirely.
Indeed. How did they come to learn?
Someone they refer to as the poet, who is, I do not think of the Camarilla, who I do not think is of the Sabbat, but provides them information that their Nosferatu contacts can verify, or at least partially verify. After dealing with the Sabbat tonight, our next step is to find this poet and deal with them.
Love how Gabriel, I'm not there.
You are downstairs now.
Oh,
you have arrived
good.
at the parking garage. You do see Gabriel's car there, as well as a bike that, given your eidetic memory, you do remember Alexander having ridden, although you haven't seen him in quite some time.
I will text Alexander. Nice to meet you again. Before actually going upstairs.
The moment that she walks in the door, whatever conversation I'm in at the time, when she walks into the door, I just turn and say, likewise.
Brilliant.
Naomi will give her a little...
There's also some manner, and I'll point over at Lysander and Isla, there's some manner of issue with their sires that's sort of a sidetrack. Not certain if it's 100% connected to everything else, but it possibly is.
The sires are alive and
rather
still
uncomfortable.
vampires, but they sure looked dead. Comes over a group text that now includes Alexander.
that.
Indeed, I'd heard terrible things had befallen your sire, Ayala.
I still believe that he is most likely deceased. However, someone has been going to great lengths to impersonate him, to the point of making references to things that only he would remember, very personal things between the two of us. He's been leaving me notes, one of which was painted. It was out of character moment. Was that message in blood too on the garage door? The
One was
poem, or
paint,
was
one
that
was
just
blood.
paint? The
It was just
poem. Okay.
poem fragment was just paint.
Okay. He went so far as to paint a line of poetry on the door of Gabriel's workshop, knowing that I was there. So, a
Do we
flair
have-
for the theatric.
We have visual confirmation of these people.
Vague.
Yes.
He looked exactly like my sire as well, but we also know at least one person was using an illusion to appear to be someone else. One of the Nosferatu was
yes,
being.
that was.
Actually,
Sure.
because Naomi doesn't have to interrupt people, she'll just text. Yes. And film confirmation of at least Lysander's sire. And madness confirmation. The most compelling of all.
Also, that reminds me. Yes, there was the first one of the first victims. A Nosferatu was being paid to impersonate.
There are 3 options that I can see. The first, the least likely, the one that I would like to not be true, is that these are indeed the reanimated corpses of these sires. Second, there is indeed someone using illusion magic to impersonate, so that would be very interesting to get that knowledge. Third, the one that I dread perhaps more than the first. Someone, of course, has acquired blood for knowledge, but the perfect recreation of the appearances of these individuals implies the flesh sculptors are involved.
The what?
Potentially.
Give me an intelligence and occult roll as soon as he brings up the flesh sculptors. Difficulty 8.
Don't Tremere have a very intricate connection to them?
No.
I thought there was like a rivalry at some point.
Well, at certain levels, but not everybody's going to be aware.
Yeah, that's
per
right.
2
se.
success.
I don't know why I gave myself so much occult, so many dots in occult. Why would I have that? Oh well,
Because you read
Because-
lore shit.
I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause you read a lot. 3 successes.
So all of you have heard of the Simige.
We're never going to get pronunciation down.
There
just go
is
with it.
there is no standardized pronunciation on that word. I am convinced.
No, there isn't.
Right.
It's also
a-
intentionally hard to spell.
Right. An ancient clan of Eastern European Russian origin, best anybody can tell, who practice a truly disturbing number of supernatural disciplines, generally all based around the idea that flesh can be manipulated as easily as clay can. And you can make alterations to yourself or to other creatures. Obviously, it's easier with soft tissue, but those steeped in the secrets can even do it with bone. And as far as shape-shifting options go, unlike the illusions or of the Ravnos or the animalistic ability to project your consciousness into that of a beast, they are literally molding their own or their servants' bodies into different shapes for different functionality. It's about as hardcore as some of the most disturbing aspects of vampiric kind can get.
It is possible. Lysander did see, supposedly, his sire turn to ash, although then also saw video evidence of his sire again living in Seattle.
And I will say there is no necromancy that I know of that can bring someone back from a pile of ash.
No. Presumably, what's Isla's sire's name again?
Derek?
Derek, thank you.
Derek Kimbrough.
Yeah, presumably Derek, also a pile of ash. Well, ash was recovered from the scene of his death. Whether or not it is his, I don't know that we can verify.
Based on what you've spoken with Jimmy, very difficult,
Yeah.
nothing conclusive. They've run as many tests as they could. And yeah, it's ash, and it used to be a body, but
It's too far back for anybody.
It's too
currently
far
to
back,
track.
and ash itself, the process that turns flesh into ash generally destroys any and all DNA
Yeah.
or identifying
Either-
chemical.
Either
composition.
Derek was burned to ash, or he is still alive and went to a great deal of trouble to disappear, only to come back now and torment me, and that doesn't seem very likely, so I think he is gone.
Do I know Alexander's clan?
It's not hard to guess.
It is
Okay.
not at all hard to guess.
Naomi will text. On that topic, do we know the name of Derek Kimbrough's friend, the one he was with that night?
You have not figured that out yet. Nope.
Okay.
Do we?
On that topic, there was another person at that same location that night, and I'll give the place.
Yes.
Who was with Isla Siler. We thought they might also be of your clan. I wasn't sure if you might be familiar with them or.
As impossible to believe as it may seem, not all Toreadors know each other. We try. We do our best. But I may, if you have more
Yes,
details, I may
you're
be able to
lame.
find.
You don't have psychic madness shit.
That's that the text that comes through.
That text comes through.
Well, the madness part is the problem. But if you can give me more details, I may be familiar. I know quite a few within this city.
All I know is that it's someone that Derek associated with on a fairly regular basis, but I don't remember the name or who it was. I just know that it didn't strike me as unusual that he was going to see him, and then he never came back.
Isaiah.
And I think it was a man, but I don't remember the name. I just remember it was someone that was perfectly ordinary for Derek to be going to visit.
Oh. I'm not certain how much useful that information would be.
You do have the address of the building where it was.
Naomi gave that dress to Lysander as,
Right.
hey, do you happen to know someone who had a haven at this location?
Yeah, we gave.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a role he can make, but
But yeah, I don't know if that.
If you share it with Alexander, he could make an intelligence and streetwise difficulty 8.
Intelligence. The mental stat. I'm a Toreador. I do have to be right though.
it's like a Toreador mental stat, no, a social stat, yes.
I can do streetwise though, so let's see. If you send it to me.
Yeah, we sent it to you.
Alright.
Yep, and
I did.
probably over detailed information because it's Naomi.
2 successes. Thank you, 3 points in
You-
streetwise.
You do remember the name of the Toreador who lived there, yes. It was one Anatoly Mirabella.
The name that comes to mind for that address, Anatoly Mirabella. Is male or female?
Male.
Quite the good-looking fellow, but interesting.
Russo-Spanish heritage.
It's like I sort of scratch my chin. Isn't an Anatoly a religious man?
I laugh at that, and then don't give any explanation as to why I laughed about it.
Regardless, I don't know if that helps us at all, but at least we have that information now.
Naomi will actually go into a room, add that to the conspiracy board where the unknown person was.
Well,
Give me a. What do I want this to be? Give me a intelligence and occult difficulty. Or no, give me a wits and occult difficulty 8.
Who?
Naomi.
That's a botch.
Okay.
I love it when Naomi botches. There's so many fun things that.
I only
Where
ever
she
do what I'm
goes,
good
right.
at, but still I botch.
There are a number. There's a fairly sizable Russian population in Seattle. There are also a number of places around town that you know of that bear the name Mirabella. You think checking those out would probably be an excellent, excellent plan.
Okay, I'm gonna on Google Maps, like find all of those places, print it out, bring those pages back.
Go right ahead. Tell me what you find.
Fine.
while Naomi is doing that, I'm just gonna call out. We have Sabat to prepare for, by the way.
Indeed. How many of you have ever fired a weapon before?
I was a poetry student.
I think
Yeah.
I may be
and
the
you
only
actually
one.
and you actually remember this, Alexander. Derek was known for his
His love of the arts. Yeah.
his love of the arts, specifically poetry, specifically European poetry, and I mean, like, your standard white male academic love of poetry.
White male philosopher.
Right? Yeah.
He's the next Nietzsche.
Yeah.
There's one thing that comes up. It's a retirement community in on Denny and Fairway,
Okay.
Fairview Way.
Let me have a look at that. Oh, interesting. Yes,
And
there is.
Naomi is absolutely sure it's related.
Gotta be related. Must be.
And-
Printing out their page, all of that in a little folder, bring it back out, put it on the table.
But finish your thought, Jack, regarding.
And as far as Isla's embrace is concerned, she was a very promising student who had a level of local fame for her various performances.
She had a YouTube channel, and she would actually sing. She did ghazals, which are a type of Middle Eastern poetry, and she would set them to music and sing them on her YouTube channel. And so she had various. She actually got pretty well known among people who are into poetry and or hot girls singing crap on YouTube. So.
Right. Which may have accounted, at least in part, for Derek's eventual interest in this particular individual beyond anybody else or any other students he may have interacted with.
Indeed. Well, especially if the Zamache are involved, we will need to bring you up to speed on how to defend yourself.
I point at the file that Naomi has brought in. What is this?
Actually, there's a retirement community called Mirabella Seattle. Seems like a next stop.
I do not think so,
No.
but keep it somewhere, just in case.
Naomi will nod, put it on a bookshelf, realize that everything's wrong now, and start rearranging the entire room.
Excellent.
Yes, we were planning on taking them to a gun range and getting them at least familiar with how to not shoot themselves.
I don't believe that I should be given firearms of any variety.
You are a clan Toreador as well, Alia. Sorry, wrong way to say the name.
It's all right.
Isla.
I like.
Isla. Do you have you awakened our natural speed?
No.
Hmm. Perhaps this will be a little more difficult then.
Do you not have any dots in celerity?
Nope, she don't.
That's why.
Yeah,
That's why I was
yeah.
trying to word that question.
I know.
Yes.
yeah.
And I knew what you meant, and the answer was
I was just surprised. That wasn't really a question. That was a surprise. That was a what?
Very well. Then this shall be a challenge, but perhaps a
I, I
necessary one.
I would like to reiterate that I do not believe that I should be given a firearm of any type under any circumstances. That will not be helpful to anyone.
Naomi will quickly draw a short cartoon sketch of Isla with a flaming arm. And with a big no,
No,
and
it's
an arrow.
That would be the least of the possibilities, actually.
it is fair. A novice with a pistol could just as easily be a burden.
We'll go with what Gabriel said. I won't press the issue. We'll just go with what he said.
I'd rather not get shot in the leg.
Well,
Somebody knows what I was thinking, right? I mean, she's not going to say it because it's very
Naomi knows
uncouth, but she's
exactly what
afraid
Isla's thinking. She doesn't care.
she's afraid it'll end up in her mouth, basically. So she's like,
basically.
do not give me a gun.
Naomi and Isla have had this conversation so many times that I assume she knows, unless Isla's trying to obscure it.
We know. I was just giving an alternative reason.
Yes, and I was happy to go with that. As long as they're not giving her a gun, she will go with the less alarming reason.
So, let us head off to a practice range. We'll leave these here. I have a pistol that's registered to me. We can teach them on.
I don't mind watching you practice, Gabriel. I'm sure you're very good at it.
So
I have one as well.
Pistols and sniper rifles don't really. Whatever.
They don't mix, but learning how to put a bullet on a target is helpful no matter what you're using.
Yeah.
Fair
Start
enough.
small.
There are basics that
If Naomi trains on a handgun for a little bit, it will inform her eventual use of the rifle.
Got it.
Why is Naomi the one using a sniper rifle?
Because Naomi
she's got a
Naomi
shit ton of
is
auspex.
God
Because-
and can see everything.
because Naomi,
She's got a shit ton
yeah,
of auspex.
yeah, because
Naomi
Naomi can
will
see into
text-
infinity.
By the way, we should probably talk about an actual plan beyond the absolute worst possible outcome, fighting with the Sabat.
Indeed, going to war with the Sabat is
It likely
And they've
inadvisable in
expressed
the
a
best of
willingness to
cases.
burn down the fucking city.
it will not. This is in case they decide not to leave peacefully.
If any part of this plan involves words or charm, then please count me in.
I'm sure we can do our best to.
I
Hand to the tutoriador in the room.
I think that words and charm will be a vital aspect of this plan if we wish
Yes.
to avoid having a fight with the Sabat,
Yes.
which I shall reiterate is a bad plan at the best of times.
Yes, it is. That being
And
said,
between the three of us, she says, gesturing to everyone but Naomi, I think we have charm covered.
Lysander's also in the room.
Okay, everyone but Naomi and Lysander.
Gabriel,
So
Lysander's
gesturing-
over there cleaning his
Lysander's not in
fingernails
room,
on the
which is
tip
why
of
Naomi
a
hasn't expressed a plan.
Gesturing to 3/5 of the
So-
room, she says, I think we have
we'll
charm
go ahead-
covered.
We'll go ahead and lay out what's going to happen, at least tonight. We're meeting with Crow, and then with Rasputin. Same place as we met last time. Likely, the Sabat will come in the same numbers they did previously. 5 La Sombra and an extra somewhere astray.
For La Sombra,
Sorry, 4 La Sombra and an extra somewhere astray.
a Nosferatu, and then there was a spotter on the. There was a man on the grassy knoll.
Yes. The Nosferatu and La Sombra will be up close and personal. I have no idea what will happen with their additional person. Very likely, Lysander and I will be close enough to engage directly with the La Sombra should they decide to attack. But we're meeting, explaining that we do not have the Book of Nod, nor do we have access to it, nor, as far as we're aware, has it ever been in the city. You could potentially help with that, I say, looking at Isla and Alexander, being particularly convincing. Which, I mean,
What do I know about the Book of Nod?
it's true.
Give me an intelligence and occult difficulty 8.
At the very
Which
least,
means I'm not going to make it.
at the very least, the fact that it's not here, and that we don't have access to it, are true.
One success.
You know that it is basically a book of traditional poetry and lore surrounding the earliest origins of kindred kind. You know that it is viewed in a almost religious fervor by the Sabbat. Others project varying levels of legitimacy and significance to it. There are those who dismiss it as simply the mystical ravings of ancient vampires that were attempting to draw some significance to the torment of their existence. So yeah, there are varying perspectives and positions on it. Sabbat are usually very, very intent on finding, understanding, using, reading. You know, it's as far as they're concerned, it's almost sort of the divine mandate legitimizing their perspective on how vampires should interact with the rest of the world. So they're usually quite keen to find whatever fragments they might be able to possess. The idea that there might be a coherent volume containing the entire Book of Nod is absolutely incredible. It'd be like finding a complete Dead Sea Scroll, in a sense, almost. Maybe even a little more so.
So,
it's like, oh, I found Da Vinci's original notebook, and it's all here in perfect condition.
And out of character, Lysander torched it.
And out of character, Lysander torched it.
yep. So, best case scenario, they leave peacefully, and maybe we can glean some sort of clue as to who this poet is that provided them their information.
Please,
If
that is
they
in the
don't
land
see-
of magical rainbows and unicorns.
Like I said, best case scenario.
If our Nosferatu friend is to be believed, telling them that is not necessarily going to make them want to leave peacefully.
No.
Especially if we trust that Crow's friend is also a very competent individual and has reasons for believing the information he does.
Yes. However, telling them that it is here is also not going to make them leave. We really have
Well,
no choice but to tell them that much.
Yep.
Should they leave, that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they immediately frenzy and attempt to attack us.
What about... What's a word between best and worst?
Median? Middle of the road?
Moderate.
What
Moderate?
about reason median?
The median
Well-
case scenario, they leave and then attack later.
Do we have a plan for any of the reasons on the median part?
Well, I am formulating several plans at the moment. None of them are coming to fruition in my mind.
Yes.
However, the group of you have been more involved with this for longer periods. Any ideas?
Our current only plan is cutting off their info source, or making their info source look unreliable.
Can I make a tactics roll?
Yes, you can.
If they no longer believe the source of their information, then they will deal with that for us.
There are many ways
I'm
to
waiting for
disgrace
Jack
some.
to tell me what that roll is.
The problem is we don't know who the information source is.
That would be a
This
tactics
does make
is
it
your specialty in which attribute?
So wits, I have wits, chances,
Wits.
and strategy, and perception tactical.
Okay. This would definitely be wits politics, difficulty 7.
Can do.
And while making the roll, we do have an idea. If the only person relevant to the rest of the activities going on that would be considered a poet
6
is
successes.
Derek Kimbrough. So if somebody
Indeed.
Though
knows-
he did not really write poetry, he only studied it.
But if somebody were to be, from the limited understanding of a Gangruel's mind, if somebody were to be a poet, that would be it.
Right, of the people we know. I mean, I am an actual poet, but none of these people know me, so
I am ardently hopeful that you are not the one that told them we had book.
especially as I was probably unconscious at the time.
Naomi, is that I have an idea, is it any good roll, or I'm trying to come up with an idea roll?
Gabriel said that's the only. Essentially, that is our optimal option, and Naomi's trying to assess the
If
tactical solidity of Gabriel's plans and their prominence. Like
His
are they-
analysis of the possible responses does pretty well jive with what Naomi's view on the situation is. If you tell them that it is here, then their plan is going to be, great, give it to us. No, okay, we'll burn the city down and find it. If you tell them that it's not here, their reaction is probably going to be, why should we believe you?
And do I have a?
We'll burn the city down until you are willing to be honest and give us the frickin' book.
Yeah.
The
We need a
absolute
trump
best
card.
case scenario to cause the least amount of conflict, at least in the short term, would have been if you could just hand the book over to them. But you're pretty sure that is not an option right now.
Okay, and I might need to make another roll for this.
Okay.
How possible is it to throw the Ravenos under the bus without throwing the city under the bus?
Give me a. Now we'll lump that in with your original roll because it would be the same roll anyway. Throwing the Ravenos under the bus would be a start, but there's no guarantee that they'd be happy with. Oh, okay, here's the guy that torched it. We'll just kill him and then be okay.
It would more likely be, oh, that's the guy who torched it? He torched it! Burn everything!
Yes,
He torched
that
we
is
torch you.
easily just as plausible.
Yep. Okay, well, I'm working on a plan for how to screw Lysander over. I will just continue to listen.
Was there any reaction to the if we delegitimize their informant, they might go away?
Oh, was that? I didn't.
Well, as far as the Book of Nod's concerned, that cat is sort of already out of the bag. Now, anytime that you have a double agent in your midst, it's generally good to either feed them super false information and control what information they're able to provide, or cut them off entirely, one of the two. That's a good tactical. You probably don't want to just leave them unidentified to continue whatever work they're about.
So, like, finding out who their informant is and trying to delegitimize them or get rid of them would be my ideal solution. I just don't know how to go about that part.
Rather than delegitimize, perhaps mislead them.
Mislead who?
The informant.
How?
Give the informant believable enough information that the Book of Nod was in the city and has left.
I mean, that would be
But
lovely.
we would have
The Sabbat would follow it elsewhere. And
The only
be
way
someone
that-
else's problem.
the only way that the informant would believe that would be if he or she thinks that he or she came across the information against our wishes.
Also, we'd need to know who the informant is and how they're getting their information.
The
Hey,
question
there's
is,
Raphael.
Then we could
And segue.
Now I'll watch as I frantically fix everybody's cropping.
What?
Here we go.
Sorry, guys.
Welcome back.
Blomp.
Glad to be back.
Keep talking. They can hear you. They just can't see.
Actually, let's take a break here real quick.
All right, that's fine. We'll take a break while I fix this mess. Back in a minute. And we're back with a Lysander in the corner.
Hey! Here's Raphael, who plays our good old Lysander.
The Ravnos guy, yay.
Yes. So, Lysander, you are sitting around watching these 4 vampires that you've been working with for quite some time, and one of whom you met once before.
Yeah.
Talking about their strategies on how to handle this problem that has been caused by first the Book of Nod existing in the city, and now slightly exacerbated by the Book of Nod no longer existing in the city.
Sorry.
Just
So
to
during the
clarify,
time
Sorry,
where
Mario
I
is here, we
not gonna
haven't
cover
told him that part.
Yeah, we haven't told him
Yeah.
that you lit it on fire yet.
Right. Yeah. It's,
Just that we know it's
Alexander
not
does
here.
not yet know.
but what's it called? During the time where I really wasn't paying attention to anybody, have I got any like messages or anything from my contacts?
You have gotten that the phone call is on. And
Okay.
should be occurring. Yes, they did eventually hear back from Atlas, I believe, was the one who had not previously responded. And it will be occurring 2 nights hence,
Okay.
because I like the word hence.
Okay.
It's a good word.
It is a good word.
So yeah,
Okay.
roughly 48 hours from now.
Okay. Anything from Featherstone?
Featherstone, let me look at my notes because I know you had asked him some things. Let's see. Featherstone has yes. You do have a message from him. Came in sometime within the past 10 minutes as they've been talking.
Okay.
Where he says, new shipment tonight. What are you looking for?
Okay.
Like specific shopping list.
Okay. Anything from Reinhardt involving what I asked about it. I asked him for
About manpower?
vehicle.
Oh, the vehicle. Yes. He gave you the name of Carl Williamson, who
Okay.
runs
Yeah.
vehicles in North Seattle. So
Okay,
probably about
cool.
half an hour north of where you guys are right now.
Okay. Cool.
And he got you. He had given you the name the night before. He has followed up with an address tonight.
Beautiful. Okay. So I'm definitely going to be going there later. But as soon as I see the text message from Featherstone, I'm going to pop my head up. I'm going to be like, guys, new shipment for weapons. What do we need?
Well, we've currently got 2 shotguns, a sniper
Yes.
rifle, a machete,
Well, a hunting
Okay.
rifle.
or a
A
hunting
hunting
rifle.
rifle, yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Besides ammo, no. I'm not sure. Well, what is it that you guys need in specific? Anything? Okay.
Nope. Pretty good.
Okay. Cool. I'll just text them back. We are good for now.
Lysander was going for armor, but Naomi's not.
I've already got armor.
Yes, you already have armor. Yes.
I have neither of those things.
I have armor. I have armored clothing. It's 1 dot of armor.
Isla's armor is metaphorical.
I'm not sure.
Isla's armor is throw the guys in front of her.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Retcon that. I'm gonna ask him. Armor? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? 3.
Question mark.
3 question mark.
Kevlar check mark emoji.
Sounds good. Where can I meet you?
He will give you an address, or he'll actually just give you a location, Denny Park.
Okay. All right.
And then text after is a little bomb explosion emoji question mark.
So I guess I'm just gonna say out loud. What about explosives?
Hey.
This is the cutesiest and most
I'm assuming
terrifying IM
explosives.
exchange ever.
If all things go
Naomi
well,
will stand up. Stand very still.
So it was
Was
If all
that
things,
sorry? Was that for the werewolves?
And looked directly at Lysander with just a tilted head.
if all things go well, explosives should not be necessary. But I doubt things will go well.
But if we run into werewolves again, they could be useful.
I will try to see if we can make it for werewolves. And then text werewolf bombs. You got any?
You asked him to work on silver ones, remember?
Yeah, I did. Silver shrapnel. That's what I'm trying to see if he has any updated any updates.
I think I can probably make that one.
He'll text back. I can pick up materials and a few days for assembly.
Okay.
Best thing I have is a silver necklace. It's kind of sharp.
Okay.
Best thing I have
Amy.
is fire.
All right.
Naomi will-
The materials can be picked up in a few days for assembly. We should be having them soon, unless we need this immediately.
I don't foresee werewolves at the Sabat meetup, but anything could happen.
Okay.
We didn't really foresee them wandering into our domain either.
That's also
Hopefully
fair.
we don't have a Sabat werewolf alliance.
I really
I
hope we don't.
feel like one is. I feel like they're being influenced by a third party.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the
Perception.
giant floating hand in the sky, we know.
What?
Right.
What?
Did she actually?
Uh-huh.
Did she actually?
Yeah,
text
no,
them?
she says that just entirely casually, like this is a normal part of the conversation, and everyone had that dream last night, right?
I will at the what responses I will say out loud Malkavian.
I'll just nod.
I get
I'll
that,
just continue
but-
nodding.
Further explanation, please.
Naomi will
As
sit
this is
down.
happening, I'm texting him back. Okay, sounds good. Sorry.
The world of dreams is a magical place, and then
Yes, Malkavians have a network of madness, but this in specific, please.
Cut to
you're
chase.
almost as little fun as Gabriel. And Naomi will then.
Oh no,
say,
I will gladly indulge you.
Last night,
Lisa.
my wanderings brought me to see the city as puppeteered by a mysterious, weathered, perhaps dead hand, and floating high above the city, or high-ish. Many were caught by the strings, and many of the strings stretched beyond what could be seen. My sire's manifestation was in the world, whether true to her or true to my sense of her, wandered to understand the mechanisms of the strings by playing along, and ended up in a river of fire. And Naomi will pull out a city map because she probably has like 20 of those for different reasons, and start like drawing a path on it, and then coloring that part of the river in with red crayon. I didn't like that part.
Your sire ended up in this river,
I talked to her today.
but in the dream, your sire was
Where is this river?
burned. I assume.
Jack, on the map. Where's the river?
Fremont Cut. It is the water directly south of your domain.
Could that be the sculptors?
Is that
Naomi
is it a limited amount of the river that she colored in, or is it the whole river?
Whichever is more
Fremont
accurate to
Cut
the dream.
runs from basically she would have been cutting in the section west or east of 15th Avenue West until about Aurora Avenue North Bridge.
So it doesn't go all the way out to the Ballard Bridge.
No, doesn't go quite out that far. At that point, you hit Well, no, Ballard Bridge is the western boundary of what she colors in.
Okay. So from the Ballard Bridge. So basically, from the Ballard Bridge to the Fremont Avenue North Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. I pull out my phone and pull that up on Google and look and see if there are any major, landmarks there that seem that just pop out. From all the information that we've gathered previously, if there's anything that I, the player, that Gabriel, the eidetic memory person, that I might have forgotten that he wouldn't have. Just anything there that, like, any sort of landmark resonating with the case thus far.
With the exception of the fact that it is literally the closest waterway to your specific domain.
Yeah, aside from that.
Yeah. Aside from that, not much. I mean, obviously the fourth floor murder has been the closest one to that area, and I mean the closest landmarks to it are like the Fremont Troll and the statue of Lenin.
Yeah.
As far as like unique things that way go. Seattle Pacific University is just south of it, but none of the students or issues that you've discovered have been anywhere around that. Yeah, and then of course downtown and Elysium has usually been all removed from that section of water.
Are there any? I'm gonna. Well, I don't know if they're talking, if they're continuing to talk, but I've pulled out my phone and am intensely looking through information. Are there any art galleries in the near that on either side of the river? Like near this area?
As far as that goes, you've got Art Center Gallery just south of it. And then other than that, not so much. There's Edge of Glass Gallery, which is just outside your domain currently, and probably part of the territory that you guys have been looking into potentially tacking on to your domain.
Mm.
But that's a little more of just like a local artist thing, not a really professional gallery per se.
I'm gonna just tag those two locations and then hold my phone out towards Isla. Were either of these locations relevant to your sire?
Were they, Jack?
Not to your knowledge.
Not to my knowledge.
I pull back and then I'm gonna explain what I'm thinking. If the dream was more than just a weird dream, we can assume that the hand puppeteering people is the person guiding forces against the prince and the Camarilla.
Yes.
Therefore, there is a connect and guiding us into this river of fire, which just so happens to be right next to the domain. Potentially, there is something relevant nearby that they are controlling the situation from. I can't think of much.
Naomi will make an omens check if Gabriel's saying this to everyone.
Yeah, I'm saying it out loud. So
Right.
that everyone can be thinking.
Which for me is looking for lights. The arrows in the sky, because I've been watching a lot of Night Vale lately.
But,
Now, out of character, just to see if I processed this information properly, did Naomi say that it was her sire that fell into the river of fire? Or
She said her sire was puppeteered into the river of fire.
yeah.
but she perished in this fiery river, we're assuming.
I mean, that's where her role in the dream ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where the dream ended.
Okay, so it was marionette hand pulling her strings and then directing her into a river of fire, the
And
end, right?
Pulling the strings of several others as well. But, yeah.
Correct? Jan?
But Naomi's sire
But
was
Naomi
the only
followed
one
her
who
sire.
specifically
The climax
okay.
was it was a river and then it was a thing of fire.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
kind of the takeaway, yeah.
and no one else went into the river in the dream except for Naomi's sire, right?
I have eidetic memory. I don't think so.
Not that
Okay.
not that you saw.
Okay. All right, that was
And
just
again,
me
it might not
clarifying
have
what I
even
should have
been my
already
fire.
marked.
It might have just been a manifestation of my more experienced self or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're now thinking about how the implications of that might reflect on what the information we already have. I don't
Can
know
I
if I
make
can
that
make
omens roll?
Absolutely.
Right.
Give me a. I always forget.
As we
the
both
dice.
check what that actually is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Give me a. It's not going to be perception and awareness because this is more of a memory thing.
Can I do kind of a? I'm sorry.
Give me a wits and awareness. Difficulty 8.
I in Call of Cthulhu it would be an idea roll. Is there something I could roll like
One success.
And what particularly symbolically are you trying to conclude or draw?
So Gabriel posed a pretty clear question. She is looking for a metaphysical answer coming from this
Okay.
page.
I
don't know if that was clear.
Okay, no, it wasn't. What was Gabriel's question again? Because I'm juggling a bunch of things in my head. All of a sudden.
I'm basically trying to. The question was: is there anything of importance nearby that would be relevant to whoever is the puppeteering hand?
Oh, okay.
The beacon that's letting the hand be projected into the sky from a sci-fi perspective.
Yes. So basically, and you're talking about like actual locations, physical locations.
I am looking at this map and looking for primarily places that might erupt to me on this map, but also potentially, oh, hey, there's a pentagon here. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Right. As far as that goes, there is a rough triangle drawn by the murder sites. And specifically what Naomi draws from it is that it is very close to an actual right triangle, a 90-degree angle in one corner and then the other two. If you were to plot on a map where the 3 murder sites that you guys have found were located. Right triangles have a number of elements of significance, and they have both architectural, artistic, and geometric. So there is that aspect to it.
So Naomi's going to go grab. She has like a little tin of pins that have skulls on them.
Mm-hmm.
2 pins into the map at the site with 2 deaths. 3 pins and 1 generic pin into the map at the site of the 3. 4 pins at the site of the 4, and then in sort of pencil sketch out the triangle.
Okay. What color pencil does she pick?
She will probably sift through a few before deciding on. This is why I should have my Naomi page up all the time.
I've suddenly gotten an idea.
I have several things to say as soon as there's an opportunity, but
Yep.
Yeah, and I have a
you
role
guys,
I'd like
you
to
guys
make when
can
I have an
interpret
opportunity.
that. It's whatever color suspicious is, which I think is deep blue, but I'm not quite sure.
Yes, I believe so.
Yep. Deep blue
Okay,
is suspicious.
All right. Awesome.
It's deep blue,
Okay.
but it's erasable pencil.
Right. Alexander.
Michelle wanted to make a roll earlier.
Yeah, I want to do some kind of a politics roll to see what Isla knows about Naomi's sire's kind of place in vampire society. Like, what is her role? How is she viewed by others? Who is she connected with? Kind of the
Absolutely.
Camarilla, and it's a Camarilla politics thing. So if that.
Specialty will apply, right? Yep.
And-
Yeah. So what's the other thing besides politics? I'd roll for that?
Intelligence politics.
Intelligence and politics.
Yep.
And I had asked earlier.
Difficulty
Yeah,
is 6.
And I'm not sure what she does, and she raised me.
And I had a question earlier. In Call of Cthulhu, it would be an idea roll for when you as a player have no idea, but your character might put something together. Is there something like that?
Common sense kind of roll.
Yeah.
What does the specialty do again? How does
You
that
can count
work?
10s
What's
as
the-
2
There's a
successes.
10.
Okay, so
Right.
I
It
just
happens
rolled
twice.
2 10s.
That's
So
5
that's
successes.
Five
extra.
successes.
So 5 successes.
5 successes. All right. Gabriel, give me a wits and occult roll, difficulty 8. Isla is considering what she remembers and also what information she's gleaned since her awakening. And best you can tell, Matilda is, she is Malkavian to the core. She is crazy as all get out. She's fairly high ranked in the clan, however. She's a personage of some influence. She's considered, even by those who would prefer to discount her, she's considered fairly insightful, which is a trait that Naomi seems to have come by honestly. And she's probably 2 or 3 ranks below the Primogen.
Okay.
Whereas, as far as varying levels of respect, influence, and power in the political scene go, she's definitely one of the top 5 Malkavians in Seattle.
Okay. And she doesn't have any particular title or role or anything officially.
She doesn't have an official position per se. But she's known for her ability to specifically to think outside the box and consider alternate points of view, which she attributes to her mental illness significantly, but she is able to do so in a way that you don't necessarily have to be crazy to understand her, which is a very kind of beneficial thing as far as most other
She's more
kindred
analytically
in Seattle.
beneficial than I am.
And when you say
Right.
she's one of the top 5, like how many Malkavians are there in Seattle anyway?
Probably 20, 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you don't ask that because a lot of the other ones are actually Malkavians, but we don't talk about that. It wasn't us.
3 successes.
As
on
far
mine.
as the Camarilla is concerned, there's probably about 50 Malkavians total in Seattle. But
But 25
probably
you'll
about
admit to.
25-ish that they'll admit to and are part of the Camarilla.
Gotcha.
3 total, or 3 for my successes.
Okay. As you're looking at it, the numerical progression of the murders is becoming pretty. It's flirting with that line between coincidence, conjecture, and an actual justifiable pattern.
Do I have a 4th grade math textbook? Probably not.
High or low?
Low.
Okay.
Actually, any sort of elementary, middle school math textbook.
I rolled a 1. You totally have one.
Okay, great. I probably have one that even contains the diagram I'm looking for. Naomi will grab a textbook, like a hardcore textbook off the wall, flip to the page on triangles, and just lay it out.
Okay. Gabriel, as you're looking at it, obviously if you had found a first murder, which was one person on the first floor, that would be the only thing that could add even more credence to that pattern that you guys seem to have been observing at this point. And the more you've been thinking about it, it feels while the political affiliations are definitely apparent and easy-ish to project meaning onto the events of maybe somebody's trying to discredit the prince or destabilize the entire Camarilla or just blow the Masquerade wide open for all vampires concerned. that could have been done without this sort of progressive nature to it.
Does it
Do
feel
you
very
feel like-
ritualistic?
It feels ritualistic as well,
So
not instead of, but in addition to.
you said it's a right triangle, right?
Yep.
Is it a right triangle with a very distinct, like, sort of one of the three murders, like the right angle could be adjusted to be like down, like south direction?
The right angle is where is in your domain.
So yeah, that's south.
That's where the vertex is.
Yeah.
No, the southernmost vertex is at the bottom of Lake
Okay.
Union, where you
Okay.
found the family of 3
Okay.
with the one that ran away.
Can just looking at it, and I'm gonna go over and not like adjusting anything, but just sort of using a finger. I want to see if I can trace, using that right hand triangle as a base. See if I can trace a pentagram that stops the other 2 points. Stop at a location and not just in the middle of a park or in the middle of a lake.
So a pentagram would require 2 other points.
Yeah.
And as far as that's concerned, you can draw one. One vertex would probably be somewhere in the Montlake area.
Mm-hmm.
The other one would be sort of as Aurora Avenue goes north to kind of in the rough area where it intersects with North 50th Street, right there at the bottom of Woodland
Okay.
Park.
And
Gabriel drawing this
with
visibly?
I'm just like indicating
Yeah.
in the air. I'm not actually drawing anything on the map. And then in my mind,
Based
with
on that, does it look ham-fisted to me, or does that look like a continuation of the accurate pattern?
Give me a perception and crafts difficulty 6 roll.
and then while that's happening, I want to then, in my mind's eye, with the pentagram spread out right there, I want to go to the center of it, and it's what is there.
The center of that would be
The
that
center-
peninsula that pushes north towards the sort of North Broadway, Portage Bay area, right where the 5 jumps across the water.
So roughly,
7 successes because this isn't mechanics.
okay.
Naomi, it's
I
mean, from a structural perspective, it's not a neat pentagram. It's definitely not equilateral. But if you found murders at those 2 places, it would definitely lend some veracity to the concept.
Given how many successes I had, would I know which direction the pentagram would be going? Like where the first or the next point would be if that is a pentagram?
Well, it wouldn't be drawn the way you usually would draw your normal 5-pointed star, where you skip a point to a vertex, skip a point to the next vertex, and work your way around that way until you connect them all.
It's a skip 2 points, correct? Or no?
Well, it would be going from, if you were looking at it as an upside down star, which is how you draw a pentagram, you would have one corner, then a long segment, and then a short segment, which would be sort of the outside of the pentagon rather than the interior ones, is what you've seen so far.
So that would be
2, 3, 4.
So that would be the tip and the base, theoretically.
You'd have a tip, and then basically there's an interior boundary drawn, and then an exterior boundary drawn, and then another interior boundary drawn back to the first point.
Not to
So-
be a total geometry nerd, but there's really no way to get a pentagram out of a right triangle because the 90-degree angle would prevent.
Right. That is true.
Okay.
That was part of what I was asking.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to
so-
see if there's any sort of pattern I can find.
Yeah,
Right. Hmm.
I'm also sort of looking at that.
Is
But
there-
do I know what the next point in the sequence would be, or if any of the sequence would be the first point?
It would not be. the way that the points have been drawn, it's not proceeding according to a consistent pattern.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't draw it out, because I wasn't sure if it would pan
Yeah.
out.
Rituals
But-
are usually pretty patterny.
Yeah.
While they're focusing on the triangle, I'm just sort of musing out loud. The Malkavians do have a somewhat metaphorical approach to all things, but in this particular sense, especially with a dream such as this, perhaps a more literal hand is needed. You said that in your dream your sire was playing along with the puppeteering and was led into a river of flames. This implies that perhaps your sire may have a connection to some of this puppeteering hand, whether they are aware of it or not. Especially if the focus was on them.
I
She
mean,
may
I'm
be-
pretty sure Matilda's aware of everything, or connected to everything. The Camarilla do.
But the suggestion is
Some
that someone
way.
may be using her for some
Indeed,
purpose.
whether she is aware or not.
Alternatively, it could be saying that if you play along, you will die.
I feel at that point it could have been any vampire.
Yes, I'm wondering why Matilda in particular showed up in this role.
And then
Just
just
surprised she wasn't actually there.
my final attempt at making some sort of sense out of a pattern that we've got, because I know the pattern's there, I just don't know what the pattern is. Is there any, if I were to triangulate the center position between these 3 points, where would it be?
It would be
Because we have 3
roughly
points, so.
right. It would be roughly across the water from Gasworks Park in the East Lake area.
Oh. So I then do that, and I go 1, 2, 3, and then like sort of trace my way back to.
Can I do another check on Gabriel's thing and then look for my own patterns? Would that be same roll, same difficulty for?
Yes.
Is this ham-fisted? Is this accurate?
Right.
And then while I'm doing that, I'm just going to count out 2,
6
3,
successes.
4.
And 4 is that.
Okay. Yeah, Naomi, as you're looking at it, I mean, any triangle has a center.
Yeah.
So he's doing more or less the right sort of guesstimate process to find it without actually breaking out a compass, and bisecting.
I trust
segments and
Gabriel
things
to
like
find the center of a triangle.
Right.
He's not
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
I'm a magician.
So yeah, right. The as far as the center of the triangle goes, you're not entirely sure. Actually, give me a.
I was hoping I could look for my own sort of, do I see any patterns?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna give you here. Is give me a. Let's make it a wits and academics.
And just because
Roll difficulty 6.
Just because it's a
Hang
fresh
on a
set
second.
of eyes. Yeah.
And I will say that, just as a note, I do have a textbook full of triangles out if I need to
Yes, you
reference
do.
it. I don't know if that decreases any difficulties, but
It kind of already has, yeah.
difficulty
6.
6.
Would have been a difficulty 8.
3 successes.
Probably, yes. Yeah, no, looking at it and drawing patterns and thinking, and you've looked at the map and you've got your pins in and you're looking at the triangle and how it's drawn. There's more to these murders than where on a 2-dimensional diagram they've occurred. You are more inclined with your read on the situation to look at the numerical progression and see whether that informs the location rather than the location being the most meaningful attribute to each of the murders.
Pulling out a new map, Naomi's gonna get some.
I like to think that
and-
Naomi just has like all these placemat maps of Seattle.
Actually, that's probably not bad. That's probably pretty accurate. She's also stabbing the coffee table, but she does that anyway, so it's fine. So, and in addition to using the pins, this time I'll use bricks to indicate what floor things were on. And
So
you're looking at it in the wrong direction, Gabriel. Think about it in reverse. How does this location influence this number? How does this number make this location, not this location make this number?
So then I'll go through it out loud. So because there's a new person here that doesn't know all the details.
Mm-hmm.
2 on the second floor, 3 on the third floor, 4 on the fourth floor.
The buildings that these are marked at, what are they?
Apartment building, apartment building, apartment building.
They're all apartment buildings. How many stories are the individual buildings? Do I know from my time in Seattle?
I mean, we would know. We went there.
I was gonna say, you don't know. You've got a decent knowledge of the city. You don't know. Oh, such and such an intersection that is flanked by a 5-story building.
That would be 9 dots in streetwise.
Yeah, that would be an insane.
But
that would be some Sherlock Holmes.
How many stories tall were these apartment buildings?
The first one was 2.
No, the first one was 3.
Oh, was it 3? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Would I know? I'm assuming, given
I assume both
preclusions and eidetic memory.
Thinking back, first one was 3. Second one was 7. Third one was 4.
Naomi will take additional bricks of a different color. They're probably painted like hot pink or something because she's kind of running out of stuff. Yep. And stack additional bricks to the total number of floors.
Yeah. Yep. 2, 7, 4.
3, 7.
Oh, sorry, 3, 7, 4. Second floor, third floor, fourth floor, 2 dead, 3 dead, 1 escape, 4 dead.
Assuming the escape was accidental rather than intentional.
I feel like...
Or assuming the escape was intentional.
The escape seemed intentional.
There's no way this man could have escaped accidentally.
We know for a fact that at least one of these people is a vampire. This was not an accidental escape.
Very well.
Is there any roll that Lysander can make according to this pattern in reference to the Book of Nod?
Give me an intelligence and occult difficulty 8.
A roll only Lysander can make.
Yep.
8 dead.
Bastard.
Because he burnt the book.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
upset nice if he'd shared it with a couple of the eidetic memory people before burning it. Oh well.
That leaves 8 dead with...
No, they would have told you don't burn it. That's the stupidest possible thing you could do.
0 successes.
9 dead.
Yeah, you're not coming up with anything that rings a bell.
Okay.
Yep.
I
mean, to you, it seems fairly applicable. The next time they kill somebody, it's going to be 5 people on the 5th floor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Has anyone tried to see what's in the middle of the right triangle, or has anyone tried to ascertain that?
I point to where that is.
Okay. Alexander, you mentioned Shapers, their ritual magic. Relevant? Not at all.
So I'm gonna say ritual magic is not pretty, but I do not believe requires this much setup.
Do I know of any Tremere rituals that would require this grand a scale?
Guess what? She's indirectly asking.
Yeah.
Give me an intelligence and occult difficulty 8.
Like, I don't think there are any that would require this grand a scale, but I don't know. There might be.
What might... Gabriel, as a magician, what might happen...
Botch.
Not a botch. Oh. I got 1 success, but then 2 ones.
The best conclusion you can draw is if this is a ritual, if this is a thaumaturgical ritual, it is going to, with this level of preparation, this has got to be a huge effect. Something extraordinarily dramatic would be happening.
So, to give you an idea...
Gabriel.
Yeah. What were you texting? No,
Naomi will say, Gabriel, as a magician, does scaling up rituals happen/work like one person where you might have one point of blood before?
So to give you an idea, of the scale of rituals that I am familiar with. I pull out my cane. I can set this ablaze, and it'll stay there for a while with just a single motion. And I don't unsheath it. I just sort of draw the cane across my hand to indicate.
Mm-hmm.
I can ward a room against sunlight by taking an hour and performing complex diagrams on the walls. The larger the required prep time, the more dramatic the effect. However, prep and effect are stationary. I cannot cut my hand 5 times and make the fire on my sword bigger. I cannot spill 3 more pints of blood and make my room more protected. So if this is a ritual, at least similar to ones that I'm familiar with, and I'm not sure that it is, then the effect would be equally grand.
Does that make sense to Naomi's nonsense mind? Like,
Give me
jive with something.
Give me an intelligence and empathy roll.
I
Difficulty
understand what he's
7.
saying on a physical level, but
Yeah.
Right.
is there any deep madness inside of Gabriel fighting so desperately to get out that I can pull up?
Right. And now you're seeing right angles.
Difficulty
and rulers.
why?
Difficulty 7.
Oh no, we know about your creepy thing with Isla. That's not the point. 2 success.
As you're hearing this, yeah, he's basically saying, "Look, I can ritually create a Molotov cocktail. This level of preparation is a Patriot missile." As you're looking at him, you sense this level of, and it might even be hidden to Gabriel, but there's this faint twinge in your psyche of, he knows this because if he could, he would perform magic on this scale.
Good to know. I'm gonna aura check Gabriel now.
I can't decide if I'm disappointed or relieved that Isla is not also picking up on this.
Sorry, the share and tell circle isn't exactly gonna open right now. We can talk about it later on the pavement.
No, that was just, my little out of character comment that I'm not quite sure how Isla would react to this revelation of his character.
Okay.
So,
I know how Alexander would react.
I'm
Oh,
assuming
God,
that's a
no,
standard
Alexander.
aura roll.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Not determined by a Gabriel stat,
So-
but by...
So how much detail do I need to provide?
Perception, empathy, difficulty 8. How
6
many
successes,
successes?
so all of the fucking
All of
details,
them.
thank you. Actually, there might be...
Okay.
Yeah, no, 5
Wow.
So it's mostly light blue, as usual, pale.
Yep.
A little bit of dark blue on occasion, but it doesn't seem to be targeting anyone in the room. It's like just sort of general. A little bit of dark green, but like just the faintest wisps of dark green. And that dark green is sort of intermittent violet, like just like sort of mostly light blue, little bit of dark blue, and then just intermittent bursts
Gabriel is turned on by this.
dark green and violet, like just
Very faintly.
yeah,
Very faintly.
like that sort of conceptually would love to do that.
Bed tips for Isla.
just,
judging.
all Isla needs to do to catch his attention is amass, godlike power, and then that'll
Yeah.
that'll
Insane
interest
amounts
him.
of sorceress potential.
Yeah, that's all.
Nothing big.
No big.
No biggie.
So, now that I'm thinking about it as a ritual, are there any other forms of magic that I might be overlooking? That Gabriel might be overlooking? Because I have an idea, but that Gabriel might be overlooking. Right now, he's
well, when you say any other, I need to know which ones you are thinking of.
Right now, he's thinking of thaumaturgy, necromancy, and vicissitude, but not.
Okay.
Not
So basically,
yeah.
Tremere, Giovanni,
Yeah.
Simiche.
That's what he's thinking right now, but
Mhm.
I, the player, don't know if he would think or know of Asimite sorcery or any of or Koldunic sorcery or anything else that is magical.
Yeah,
in
you might
nature.
have a. I mean, you might know about their existence, but definitely no details.
Yeah.
And the
And I don't.
even the vicissitude and necromancy is kind of
Like I know it
familiar.
exists. I don't know anything about it. That like those
Right.
two. I just didn't know if I would at all know anything about the other types of sorcery.
Yeah. But as you're considering that, you feel like there's viable justification for it being any one of those. In order to get actual detail, you would need to know what they're doing with the blood.
Yeah. Looking again, so where was that triangulated center?
Across the water from Gasworks Park in the East Lake area,
Okay.
kind of somewhere around the sort of East Lake Avenue, East Lynn Street kind of
Where does this
intersection.
become
roughly.
square?
What?
It
Where
doesn't
does this
become a
triangle
square.
become a square?
It doesn't become a square. It's not
Yeah,
an equilateral right triangle.
That's exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yep.
Become a rectangle.
It would become a rectangle.
So, looking
Naomi
at
will
looking at
gesture to whatever point at which it becomes a rectangle.
looking across at the other side of Gasworks Park. What's the nearest hospital?
Nearest
medical
hospital to
facility.
there would be.
Medical facility that would be able to store blood, I should say. Which in my mind is a hospital, but may also be like a clinic.
Yep. Closest one would probably be the University of Washington Medical Center, as the crow flies. Physical distance, driving distance would probably be one of the multi-care facilities north of the water. Those of you that are looking for the fourth point that would make the rectangle, it's happening somewhere near the Washington Park Arboretum / UW Botanic Gardens.
Pulling out my phone, are there any apartment buildings in that area that might be candidates?
Nothing jumps
Which means
out at
to Naomi, they'd need to have at least a fourth floor. So no. Okay.
Yeah, nothing jumps out at you. Who else was looking for the fourth point on the rectangle?
Yo.
Give me an intelligence and streetwise difficulty 6.
I'm looking for that as well.
Where is
Okay,
wait,
same roll for you then.
What did you say the fourth point was going to be?
Washington Park Arboretum / UW Botanic Gardens.
3 successes.
3 successes for Alexander.
1 success.
Both of you know that place and amongst the Camarilla has a reputation for stay the fuck out. Alexander, you know because that's puppy territory.
Werewolf territory.
Yep, that's where werewolves have laid claim to that.
Which then immediately
that
strikes
strip of
chord with
green.
me of werewolves entering this territory implies that someone went in there and did a ritual that pissed them off.
Conceptually, could have been. Hard to say.
It's also fairly close to the UW Medical Center that I'm pointing at. It's like I'm just tracing my hand over towards the medical center,
I think all three of our hands hit there at the same time.
and like you
Yeah.
guys are like off to the right, and I'm up north.
And then Naomi will hold everyone's hands together and hold a hand out to Isla to join us.
Isla just, gives her hand, indulgently. Just, puts her
Okay,
hand on the pile.
And then
please.
Gabriel's phone vibrates.
I pull my hand away, grab the phone, and look at
Did
it.
we do that? Was that magic? The
You
hand
have an image that's been texted to you by Serenity.
What is the image?
Your garage door.
Oh, God.
What
Is
or
it open?
who is on it?
More graffiti.
Okay.
Another line of poetry.
Okay.
Ugh.
He's left open for God the doors of hell tonight. And that is where we'll close it this evening.
Oh, God.
Thank you all very much for joining us on this detective episode of Vampire the Masquerade Walking in Shadow. We have been Final Show Films. We produce a wide variety of content every day of the week. You can check us out on our website at finalshowfilms.com. You can also check us out on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so by throwing a couple bucks over there our way. We appreciate all of our patrons, especially our $25 tier supporters, Chris Comfort and Tonic, without whom we wouldn't be able to do quite as much of the stuff that we do. We're currently at the $100 tier on our Patreon, which is paying for our podcast lines that everything's going out on. The next tier is $500, which means this guy over here, who I'm currently paying out of pocket to help edit stuff, gets paid by you, the viewers at home. So if you like Jack, at the very least, and you want to support him and maybe make it a little bit easier for him to do this, then throw a couple bucks our way. We appreciate that. We also appreciate 411mania.com. 411mania.com is a geek culture website that produces content related to wrestling, MMA, entertainment, music, and gaming, including all of our Final Show Films podcasts and actual plays like this. So go there, check out articles that we put up. I've gotten a little irregular with my article posting up there, mostly because things have been hectic on the back end here, and I'm already doing 15 jobs, so... but we're trying to keep up with that. But if you can also find it all by following me on Twitter at John A. Bates, and all these other folks, because most of them retweet me. So, but yeah, so that's that. Michelle, you had a book come out recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Hold on. So this is the second book in my urban fantasy series, if you like urban fantasy. The first one is called Borderline, and it was recently nominated for a Nebula Award, which is one of the two major science fiction fantasy awards that they give out every year. And this is the second book in the series, and it just came out like about a month ago. So it's still hot off the press, and if that's your kind of thing, check it out.
And we assume it is your kind of thing because you're watching Vampire the Masquerade, for crying out loud.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go buy it and make her publisher buy the next 15 books that she writes.
There's already a third coming out for sure.
And Raphael Dupree Suave. What's your name again?
Dupree Suave.
That
You
was
almost-
it.
There we go.
I almost had it.
Yeah.
Dupree Suave. Tell us about that music that you do.
So if you guys didn't know, I'm also a musician on the side, more of a musician than this. This is really fun, but I do more music than anything. If you guys want to check out my music, you can always go on soundcloud.com/Dupree Suave. That's all one word. It's 2 E's in Dupree. Just think of Jermaine Dupree's last name and that one, Stevos, and Rico Suave. That's literally, yeah. And then you can listen to the project that I'm currently working on. It's a project called Play 12. It consists of 4 EPs, 4 songs each. You can go listen to the Premonitions Permission Project P3 or Against All Advances A3 on SoundCloud right now. I'm currently working on the final 2 to get them out before June, so be on the lookout for that.
And as someone who has listened to them, it's actually pretty good.
I feel like you say that like you were expecting it to not be.
Get that ringing endorsement. No, it's really good music. I like it, so you guys probably like it too. But yeah.
And it's Yoshi approved.
It is Yoshi approved. So yeah,
Good.
we have been Final Show Films, and we will see you all next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.